Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. In an old Persian town there lived two brothers. The elder was named Qasim. He was wealthy but greedy and stingy, and he treated his younger brother with contempt. The younger brother was named Ali Baba. He was a poor, honest man who earned his meagre living by cutting wood in the forest and selling it in the market on his only donkey. One day, while Ali Baba was in the forest gathering wood, he heard the thunderous sound of approaching hooves. Peeking through the trees, he saw a cloud of dust and then a large band of fierce-looking horsemen on powerful steeds. Fearing they were bandits, Ali Baba quickly hid behind a large rock. The riders approached and halted before a massive rocky cliff. Their leader, a burly man with a black beard, dismounted and shouted in a booming voice, "Open, Sesame!" Suddenly, a section of the rock slid open, revealing the entrance to a vast cave. The thieves all entered and emerged a short while later. Their leader closed the door by saying, "Close, Sesame." The rock sealed shut, leaving no trace of the door, and they rode away. Ali Baba remained hidden, astonished by what he had witnessed. Once he was sure they were gone, he emerged and approached the rock, wondering if the magical words would work for him too. Hesitantly, he said, "Open, Sesame." Immediately, the magical rock door swung open. Ali Baba entered the cave, and his amazement knew no bounds. The cave was not an ordinary one. It was an indescribable treasure trove. Mounds of gold and silver glittered like stars, piles of precious silks and brocades, chests overflowing with sparkling jewels and gemstones, priceless carpets and countless sacks of gold coins. Ali Baba realized this was the thieves' hoard. He decided to take only what he needed. He filled the 2 leather sacks he used for carrying wood with gold dinars, then exited and said, "Close, Sesame." The door sealed behind him. He tied the sacks onto his donkey, hid them under the firewood, and returned home. When he arrived, he told his faithful wife the incredible secret and showed her the treasure. Overjoyed, she decided to weigh the coins to know the amount. Looking around, she found they had no scale for gold, so she went to Qasim's house to borrow one from his wife, who was known for her curiosity and cunning. Qasim's wife grew suspicious. She wanted to know why the poor Ali Baba needed a gold scale, so she secretly smeared the bottom of the scale with wax before lending it. When Ali Baba's wife returned the scale, Qasim's wife found a gold dinar stuck to the wax. She rushed to her husband and told him what she had discovered. Qasim stormed over to his brother's house, angry and making threats, until the good-natured Ali Baba confessed everything and told him the story of the treasure and the magic words. Qasim didn't thank his brother. Instead, the next day, he went to the forest with 10 mules to carry as much treasure as possible. Qasim stood before the rock and said, "Open, Sesame!" The door opened. He entered and began greedily stuffing sacks with gold and jewels without stopping, wanting everything. But when he was finished and wanted to leave, he was so overwhelmed by his greed that he forgot the magic word. In a panic, he tried saying, "Open barley," or "Open wheat," but the door didn't budge. He began to panic, desperately trying to remember the correct word to no avail. Meanwhile, the thieves returned to the cave and saw the mules tied outside. Their leader flew into a rage. He opened the door and found Qasim trying to escape. The angry thieves attacked him and killed him on the spot. They then cut his body into 4 quarters and hung them on the cave wall as a warning to anyone who dared steal their treasure. When Qasim didn't return, Ali Baba grew worried and went to search for him. Finding the door open and seeing his brother's fate, he was grief-stricken. But he realized the danger he was in, so he took his brother's body, placed it on one of the mules, and returned to the city in secret. With the help of his clever wife and Morgiana, the wise and loyal slave girl in Qasim's household, they managed to give Qasim a proper burial, as if he had died a natural death, to avoid arousing the suspicions of the thieves or the neighbours. Scarcely a day had passed before the thieves discovered that the corpse was missing. Their leader realised that someone else knew their secret. He divided his men into groups and sent them into the city to find the one who knew the secret of the treasure cave. One thief, disguised, went to the town's tannery and asked about the houses of wealthy men who had died recently, and was directed to Kasim's house. The thief went there and learned from the neighbours the story of Kasim's sudden death and the existence of his poor brother Ali Baba. Finding Ali Baba's house, the thief made a mark with white chalk on the door to identify it for his comrades that night. But Morgiana's sharp eyes noticed the mark. Sensing something sinister, she went and put the same mark on every door in the neighbourhood. When the thieves came that night, they were confused by the identical marks and couldn't tell which house to enter, forcing them to retreat. The captain of the thieves was furious. He went himself disguised to Ali Baba's house to spy. He memorised the house's details perfectly. However, Morgiana, who was serving the guest, noticed his suspicious looks and strange behaviour. She also spotted a dagger hidden beneath his clothes. She realised he was the leader of the thieves, but she didn't show it. That evening, while Ali Baba was bathing, Morgiana devised a clever plan. She dressed as a dancer, tied a dagger to her waist, and performed a dance for the guest and her master. At the climax of the dance, she swiftly lunged at the guest and stabbed him in the heart with her dagger. He fell down dead instantly. When they revealed his identity, they discovered he was the captain of the thieves. Under his clothes, they found another dagger he had intended to use to kill Ali Baba. The threat of the thieves ended with their leader's death, but Morgiana, with her intelligence and courage, had saved her master twice. Ali Baba felt an immense gratitude towards her. He freed her from slavery and married her, making her the lady of the house. After that, Ali Baba went to the treasure cave with Morgiana's help, knowing the magic words. They took from the treasure what they needed to live in comfort and happiness, without greed or miserliness. They donated much of the wealth to the poor and needy. And so, Ali Baba and Morgiana lived in contentment and peace. Their children inherited the vast fortune after them, keeping the secret of the treasure, and the words, "Open Sesame," which became a legend told for generations.